Earlier this week, the former president and the Trump Organization filed a motion for a preliminary injunction against the New York AG, Letitia James, because she is investigating his business dealings. The motion accuses James of overreach and launching a politically motivated attack. In a statement, James responded saying, "Our investigation will continue undeterred because," she says, "no one is above the law, not even with the name Trump." BNC legal contributor Paul Henderson is here now to break it all down. He's in San Francisco. Paul, this is a civil probe. A lot of people say they want him to go to jail. They want to see him behind bars, but this thing has legs. It has teeth.
It actually does. And one of the things that's interesting about it, and so well that you pointed it out, that this is a civil suit, which is different from the criminal suits, which are also still floating around. But the reason that that matters is that because from the criminal arena, there are different standards so that you can collect that information. And once that information is collected, it can be used in the criminal context as well, and vice versa. So information coming out of either of the tracks will and could be used against not just Trump, but his administration, the organization, and the surrounding people are around them. That's why all of these attacks matter, that lead to either more information being shared or the validation of more charges. So if we unpack what the Trump attorneys are saying versus what the Trump organization lawyers are saying, they're two separate things, but they're similar attacks trying to defend Trump and continue to keep him immune from a lot of the lawsuits. Trump's lawyers specifically are explaining that this is, and saying that this is just a harassment claim, that none of the attacks and none of the investigations and none of the lawsuits coming from the U.S. Attorney's Office have any merit whatsoever. I don't think that they're going to be successful at all. And we all know that from a criminal perspective, investigating either an individual or an organization or affiliates, prosecution is given wide latitude as long as there is reasonable suspicion to validate both their charges and their investigations. And these are not taken lightly. You know, this is a U.S. attorney. She is pretty smart, knows what she's doing. She's also been supported for a very long time, not for the least of which by Black Prosecutors Association, who are super excited about her work there and what she's doing before we even start addressing this individual lawsuit attacking Trump. The slight shift.
But Paul, when we talk about when we talk about civil cases, one name comes to mind: Wesley Snipes. As African Americans, we have seen us caught in the crosshairs of these different investigations, and we wind up behind bars. And not only do we wind up behind bars, we wind up behind bars quickly. If anything can be said about Donald Trump, it is that he is the most litigious man that has ever walked the face of the planet. I hear a lot of people saying, why is it that Wesley Snipes goes to jail? Martha Stewart goes to jail. Donald Trump does not. What is he doing differently? And why is it so hard to pin him down?
Well, he has not so far. I mean, the song has not finished singing yet, if you want to look at it that way, because these civil lawsuits still exist and they haven't been ruled upon or determined yet. I believe that the rulings that are coming, because these challenges, because if you look at the challenges that he's making, well, first, let's take a step back and answer your question. Part of why there's a difference and a distinction between what happened to Wesley Snipes, what happened to Martha Stewart, is that Trump has a broad network and he has many more defenses that he shifts constantly back and forth between. I wasn't personally doing it. I had a valid reason for doing it. And the big one, this biggest shield that he uses frequently is, I've got presidential immunity. And that is a blockade with diminishing return, especially now that he is no longer in office. So many of these attacks that we're seeing, especially the civil ones, are very difficult, if not impossible, to bring while someone is a sitting president. And now that he is no longer president, he's not able to make those same defenses. And that's why we're seeing all of these civil lawsuits moving forward. The interesting thing is, if you look at both what Trump and his representatives and his organization's legal counsel are all saying, and this is a well-funded defense, another distinction between Wesley Snipes and Martha Stewart, is what they're saying is that all of these attacks, every single one of them, are personally motivated. Every single one of them are about politics. Every single one of them have no merit and no claim. But what you're not hearing and what you're not seeing are any of these individuals, any of the organization, or Trump himself providing information challenging the allegations. That's not what's here.
So
And what we
let
see,
me
yeah,
break it. Let me break it down. Let me bring it to the street. Yes or no? Donald Trump going to wind up going behind bars?
that's a tough question to ask me live on air, but I'm going to fall on the yes side with distinction. I think there will be broad exposure, and I do think that it's possible for him to be exposed into criminal sanctions that could include custody. I don't think it's likely that he will actually serve custodial time, which doesn't mean that he won't get convicted. And it doesn't mean that there won't be valid civil lawsuits that have been filed that are won in his administration. And quite frankly, because keep in mind that the standards are different for what has to be proven in the civil arena, I do think that it is
Yeah,
highly likely that ultimately there will be civil judgments against him. Those civil judgments will be used to validate further civil judgments and lead to criminal sanctions. I know it's a long way of
got
answering
to
it, but
leave
I'm
it
a
there.
lawyer. This is what I do. So that's what I believe. That's
Paul,
what I believe. He will
Paul,
face
thank you very
sanctions, but I
much.
don't necessarily think he'll serve.
Paul Henderson is our legal contributor here at BNC. Paul, as always, thanks.